I'm seeing things I shouldn't see. I'm dreaming things I've never seen.
You're beginning to think in images, concrete images. Hot, cold, light, dark, food, hunger, pain. I think as I always did. Words are becoming meaningless to me, except for the...
Hey guys, it's Inkeater, and welcome to Vinyl Wednesday, where we talk about vinyl music and stuff. I think my voice is kind of going. I don't know why that's happening. Anyway, so this week's Vinyl Wednesday, I thought we would continue on what we've been doing, which has been celebrating women in history. And this week, I know I've been kind of vague about who I was going to do because I got monkey wrenched, but in like the best way possible. I was talking to my best friend, Sin, and we were on the phone, and we were talking about music, and I was talking about who I was going to talk about on Vinyl Wednesday, and she was like, well, why don't you do so-and-so? And I was like, who is so-and-so? And she was like, she's such and such and such and such, and I was like, whoa, really? So, of course, it's kind of in honor of my friend Sid, because she came up with the idea, which was to do Suzi Quatro. I really didn't know about Suzi Quatro until I had my conversation with my friend, and I found it awesome and amazing, because I went on the journey of discovery, which is looking up some history and learning some shit, which... You know me, I love learning things. I was just amazed at all of Suzi Quatro's accomplishments in life and in this world. And if you're wondering why I chose Suzi Quatro, she's actually the first female bass player to become a full major rock star. And she pretty much broke the barriers to women's participation in rock music. How mind-blowing is that? She's pretty much the reason why there's a lot of female rockers out there today. And it's just mind-blowing to know where it started and where it came from. And there's a lot of arguments because Suzi Quatro did come out in the 1970s when the rise of punk rock and all those garage bands. But at the end of the day, one person argued, yeah, there were a lot of bands out there, but how many of them are still living and breathing and continuing on to today? Quatro is formally trained in playing the classical piano and percussion. She's self-taught bass player and guitar. She's also an actress. Most of you probably know Quatro from Happy Days. The Fonz's girlfriend's little sister, Leather. Picture right there. Prior to venturing out into the United Kingdom and blowing up, she was in 3 other bands. First one being her father's band playing percussion. It's debatable what instrument she played, and then afterwards playing with the Pleasure Seekers, which was a band with her sisters, in which they dressed up. I think I have a picture right here. It's kind of interesting, her progression. She did argue, though, that the way that she dressed here was, she felt was one of the necessary evils to break it into show business, which kind of relates to today. After being in the Pleasure Seekers, she was also in a band called Cradle. It wasn't until her brother actually invited a record producer, I believe by the name of Mickey Moist, founder of Rack Records, to come out and watch the band Cradle, that he realized, I can make you Suzi Quatro in the United Kingdom. At the time, Janis Joplin had just passed, and I think it's quite interesting that there was a quote within the Wikipedia article that I was reading, linked down below, where the Elektra Records president said, you know, to Suzi Quatro, I can make you the next Janis Joplin, and she was like, I don't want to be the next anybody. You know, which I find empowering. It just made me feel really awesome hearing that from somebody from back in the 1970s, actually standing up and holding ground. Needless to say, she went to the UK, got her band, and basically blew up from there. And while she wasn't popular in the United States, there is speculation as towards why. Just amazing how a female, and not only just a female, but just a petite, tiny female. I mean, look at this image right here with her and her band. I just think it's amazing. Just the stark contrast between her being so short in stature but just holding her own. She's been labeled as a cock rocker, which you can totally see it in her earlier stuff, and even now into today in the way that she holds her guitar and the prowess that she has. I really enjoy hearing her as a performer. You can hear the heart and the soul within how she's playing. And while most people would sit there and label this as pop music, I just think of it as amazing. Just how much one person could accomplish in their lifetime and still continue to accomplish now into today. She's actually has her own YouTube channel. I'll leave the link down below. She puts a lot of vlogs up, I guess. I haven't really watched that many of them, but this is the album that I obtained, and it came with the actual original insert with the song lyrics written on there. I actually purchased this record at Radioactive Records, and this is just a shout out to them. They are super awesome and super amazing. If you're ever in South Florida, you should definitely check out Radioactive Records in Fort Lauderdale. I was helped by Emily, and she's just super amazing. She actually searched to see if they had any Suzi Quatro records, because once my friend Sin told me about Suzi Quatro, I became obsessed, I guess, and I was like, I need to hear this record. I hadn't heard anything by Suzi Quatro prior to this, and it was actually quite awesome, because what I find really, really cool, though, is how many people she's gone on to basically inspire, and she inspired Joan Jett. Joan Jett used to be a fan of Suzi Quatro, and then later made a band called The Runaways, and it just, that alone made me go, wow! Look at her profound effect on people. And I would have never known that had I not talked to my friend Sin. Anyway, she also influenced Tina Weymouth from the Talking Heads, you know, the bass player. When Chris Frantz was unable to find another bass player that was interested in playing in his group, he encouraged Weymouth to sit there and learn how to play bass by listening to Suzi Quatro records. Say what? No, right, Zephyr? Did she influence a lot of females down the road? I wondered, did Suzi Quatro personally feel like she influenced females down the road? And I actually found an interview from 2012 titled Glycerin Queen Forever. There's an image of Suzi Quatro on the front where you can see her in the leather getup. I actually wanted an album, one of her earlier albums that had her like that dressed on the front cover, just because it was just such an interesting stark difference between her and her bandmate. But back to the article. She actually got asked, what do you think you've achieved for female rockers in general? And Suzi Quatro answered with, before I did what I did, we didn't have a place in rock and roll. Not really. You had Grace Slicks and all that, but that's not what I did. I was the first to be taken seriously as a female rock and roll musician and singer. That hadn't been done before. I played the boys at their own game. For everybody that came afterwards, it was a little bit easier, which is good. I'm proud of that. If I have a legacy, that's what it is. It's nothing I take lightly. It was gonna happen sooner or later. In 2014, I will have done my job for 50 years. It was gonna be done by somebody, and I think it fell to me to do, because I don't look at gender. I never have. It doesn't occur to me if a 6-foot-tall guy has pissed me off not to square up to him. That's just the way I am. If I wanted to play bass solo, it never occurred to me that I couldn't. When I saw Elvis for the first time when I was 5, I decided I wanted to be him. And it didn't occur to me that he was a guy. And with that, my mind was just absolutely blown away. Because as a female creator, I could relate in just so many ways. I mean, as a female creator, what Suzi Quatro had to say really resonated with me, because I've never sat there and thought I couldn't do something or that I wasn't capable of something. In fact, I can pretty much do anything I set my mind to, and that's pretty much what I go with. And that is kind of why I chose Suzi Quatro this week, because she's just amazing and really, really interesting and insightful. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Let me know down in the comments below if you have any stories about Suzi Quatro. I'm kind of obsessed right now, so I may be kind of biased, but I'm definitely on the hunt for some more Suzi Quatro records, just because I want to hear if all the other ones sound equally more amazing. I'm probably looking for more for her earlier stuff than anything. As always, let me know, what's your favorite song that you're currently listening to? And that's pretty much it. Bye!
Whatever it is that you believe you're seeing, it's not real.
Seeing things before they happen.
Things are not always what they seem in this place. So you can't take anything for granted.